What's going on? Just making this after my tournament or my regional run. Uh, didn't do as good as I wanted to, but I still want to pass on the knowledge of this deck. The deck performed as it should. It just I didn't perform up to par with the level that this deck was. But still, you can see that in the gameplay playlist, or not the gameplay, the regional run playlist. I'm putting it all in there. All my regional runs that you'll see for the past couple weeks will be in here. I'm like, this list is not the general, how should I say, generic Green Absorb build. We'll get back to that later. Matter of fact, we're gonna perfect the original build of that. But this one is basically deck builders in a skilled player's paradise. We weren't as good enough as we could have been. More polished as we could have been. Maybe a little bit more practice could have got us there, and just more confident in our plays and just looking at our hand and sequencing in the right order. But you'll see my journey in that playlist. But without further ado, let's get on to this, because like this one I'm gonna explain card by card and reasoning, because this takes a lot of ingenuity to pull off. And I want to win the Wave 1 Cell Regional Leader with a Cell deck. That is my goal. But we'll see what we get here. We're probably gonna play this list again for Wave 2, probably one or two more additions when we get the Wave 2 support. But without further ado, let's get into it. Let me turn or mute my Discord in the background, because they still finishing up round 7 at the time of this, and didn't want to keep hearing Discord noises in the video. But alright, we back in focus. We started off good. I think I won close to half my games, lost half. But we were cooking in the first couple rounds. Our super combo of choice is Vegeta the Lone Prince. I like this effect because it sets up what our other combo we're gonna explain later. But most of all, it is a turn 1 play I like to go into. I know some go with the Android 17. Start off just to put under the leader. I like to start with this, because like, especially if I go first, because 9 times out of 10 it's going to stay to the next battle sequence, and then we just combo it off and just play a Z card on the following turn. It's really good to keep it for the draw effect, but there's another way you can repurpose and reuse this. And for those that know, with this list, I wanted to kind of give you that Cell Surge type of feel one more time. And it's basically dedicated to the point where I really wanted to main one of my side deck cards, but base wouldn't allow me. And also, if I'm going into a tournament that's regional caliber or above, it has to be 50. I don't care what's in the format, but that's personally for me. But going on with the Stout Heart 16, we split it 2-2. Stout Hearted, it just, when you're at 4, make them discard a card, plus 10 to the combo. That's all that's in here for. And just more hand destruction. Going on to the next card, we running 2 Jeros, we running 3. And I had some debate to cut this down to 1. Just if I have it, I have it, but 2 played out fine, and I think we'll keep it at 2. My saucy tech, shout out to my boy Arthur, because man, I couldn't find mines, and like late night, midnight, he came through and delivered me this card, because like my TCG order didn't come in, and I'm like, with that, I would have to change my deck list or play a card that's not in my deck. And like, they used to for this. I'll save my real talk on my thoughts on the tournament, but once your list not turned in by the day before, and you can't change it at all. So I was making sure I had the cards because we was scrambling for these last few cards, and like, TCG player wasn't hitting for me on getting my cards in. But thankfully, we had a helpful community. Shout out to Dan the Man too. That helped me. But from here, we get on to the standard, which you'll see in every cell, and like this, along with this, is kind of like the whole aspect of the cell deck or the core of its engine. I played this one time for the most part and never played again. I just had to have it in my hand for tucking under the leader. Same with this. I didn't want to rush into these back to back to back. I like to spread them out like one every other turn if it's not necessary to do. Just posture your resources, and you for this build, I'm not running too many targets, so sometimes I gotta play the cell a little bit early just to put one of my targets back just to set up the next one. But that's just another line. But this is kind of just like to mitigate your value, because you go -1 to play this and pop something, but you got a bottom deck one to play it, and then this just draws you back a card. And some things you want back in the deck, like extra specialists and 17s. Next, we got this, and I think this is like the last Android card I'm running. I think I'm running 18 Androids altogether. There was a lot of times people left a 1-drop up, and I just tucked a card under my leader or an Android card and just played it and popped it. And I was doing that, swinging at him for crit, and following up with a Lone Prince to make him discard a card by paying 1. I did that half of my games. Then we going on to the not so typical cards. I had this at 4. This to me for this deck is the budget solidarity, because paying 2 sometimes in green is not cash money. They have to pay or give me a strong enough reason to pay 2 to play a solidarity. So I wasn't going to play it at all, or I was just going to side it for a yellow matchup just to pop the trunks. But we'll get to that. But I think this is really good, and it is necessary. I cut it down to 1 for to make room for another tech card in here. But in game scenarios, when you drop their hand to 0, you play this, swing, you deal a damage, they card to hand, and then his auto makes him warp that card, and they gotta warp a battle card. It's like an in-game scenario that's necessary, and I usually seen him almost every game at 1, but still probably would eventually bump him up to 2. But that is his purpose and role in this deck. But didn't miss him at all after that. Also, he's a turn 2 player once I want to get that out early, or get that off early, just to have another body just to set up for this card early mid game. I'm at 4, have a cell, and I can just play it and just tap somebody up. It didn't come up, but there was a situation that allowed me to set it up, but that wasn't the optimal play, so I didn't make it. But it's just one of those, especially when you're playing against red, they holding that last energy up for explosive dance, so you just tap them out and just kill them. Then we got our one of. I never saw this when I needed it. Also, there's a lot of games I just didn't go into my Z unisons. I saw myself cutting this many a times because I, to be honest, I really don't like 1-ups in the deck, but it's so powerful and at one for a reason, and like it's matchup specific. It's like, especially against the Vegeta matchup, where half the field is 7 or less amongst the other colors as well. So I just had it, and just in case I had it, didn't get it to resolve it once. It's only seen it one time, and that's I drew into it after they killed my Unison, so I just comboed it off. But at worst case scenario, still a combo. 3 Briennes. I'm so iffy about 2 energy in green unless it's game shaping or enough of a power level to throw my opponent off their tempo. And sometimes we use it early against especially the slower decks. Otherwise, we just waiting till the late and just pick the hand apart over time. It's like after turn 3, you should be discarding 3 to 5 cards out their hand every turn. And at that point, they should literally have no hand. Draw Apes. I know I commented on a Lookouts video that our list was similar to the guy at the French regional like a month before this one. I wish I would have seen him play. The VOD. They don't got the VOD on their Twitch no more, but he was running 4 Rebrians. I just wanted to do a 2 split, and it came up on certain turns and interactions where I needed the draw 2 or the +1 or the +2, matter of fact, because at that point it's in the drop, and half the time when I tuck my leader up underneath a cell, I gotta discard one after I do my searches for either this, or 2 of these in combination. I discard Chrysalis, Draw Ape, or Rebrien. That's my easiest and fastest way to get them in the drop. Going on to our next card. I was so heated, and that's why I cut a Radish to make a room for this, or I cut a Radish and another card just to make room for this. This came up quite a few times, but I wanted a 2 energy board wipe that's easy to set up. Usually, and you'll see in that playlist, I usually combo it with this because I usually use my Cell Leader, KO, then play this from hand, and then play this out. Pitch a target, or more importantly, one of my 6 easy discard targets. Swing, pitch one of those, draw 2, 10 plus 30, so they KOs everything 30 or less without barrier. And I draw 2, I'm like, it's draw 8 with a body, essentially. Getting the same value in draws, but it's effectively, I think, let's see, it's a 0 until you do it again. So it breaks even, but if it stays alive for you to do it again, or it stays on board, the lines again, it's a +2. Going on to my next. This I was flexing on 2 or 1. If 2 or 1 was the right number. There were some games where it was necessary, especially my first game, to see it, to empty my opponent's hand behind the Solidarity. Or I set it up with this, having this 4-drop, or in this free one after I tap them out. There's a lot of interactions. Like, also, I run the new 5-drop. When we get to that, 5 plus this 3 right here equals 8, and that's 3 cards for 2 energy discarded from my opponent's hand. There's a lot of easy ways to make 8 in here. 2 4s or a 5 and an 8. But didn't use the other effect. This is in here also for a second effect of barrier removal, because we had some matchups where we had to get rid of some barrier guys, and he makes that situation easier, but we use them for the discard 2 effect more importantly. Originally, I wasn't going to run Rebrian because he's a more efficient Rebrian. I just gotta sacrifice board state for it, and Rebrian is just, I gotta just have it in the drop. But in that instance, we went for a 2-2 split. Usually I was gonna go for Rebrand and none of these, but this was the tournament to test it out, and I think we're keeping the ratio the same. And also, if I don't need it, I just put it to the bottom of the deck with Cell Effect, just to get rid of the dead 10k. Then Solidarity, woo. There were 2 matches where it came up, and just the other matches didn't really need to utilize it too much. But it's a powerful card for a reason that synergizes what I wanted to do, and especially when they don't always need to swing at the leader. If they have a unison up, I'll just play it and just swing at unison and just get rid of board state, or swing at another battle card, which I also did, which I make them discard the card and get rid of 2 battle cards. 9 times out of 10, that's what's happening. But really strong card. Only downside is your opponent needs to have 3 energy, but it helps and hurts at the same time. That's why I was very tempted to go gung ho and just run 4, but last minute adjustment, we took this out the side and just main deck it and just cut this total. Also was thinking about 2-2 on this, but I think that is the number. It synergizes what I want to do and of a high power level. This is something who's running at 3, but I think 2 is the right number because you have to be at 3 energy to use it. And one of my 5 drops that I can go into this guy with the Android. Also, we use it for another reason. Because we playing Spirit Bomb, because this is kind of like Cell Surge with Spirit Bomb deck. It's kind of this deck's gimmick. Was built, or this was when I first put it together and was testing with it. I got a lot of different variations on the channel you can watch, but we settled on this one for the regional, and not to lean too much into it. If I have it, I have it. If I don't, I don't. And also why we're running a 2-2 split of this just for more discard, because like originally how I was thinking about it, just on the principle of 1 energy, just kind of like a Rebrian that can draw me a card if I play 2 of them for that same amount of energy, and which I did use 2 energy just to play 2 Vegetas in 1 turn. I think I ripped like 6 cards through 2 the Boris, 6 or 7, but it's up there when it gets going. But those super combos don't have any restriction and gets a full effect when they're combo, period. All the new super combos have to be combo from him, so this really puts into effect his auto, which when he attacks, he chooses up to 3 green battle cards and combo with them. Sadly enough, because usually at first it was 3-1 and it was like a great Saiyaman, but I'm like, Vegeta's the one. And I don't regret it, but at most I only got off like 2 Vegetas and a Stout Heart, or 1 Vegeta and 1 Stout Heart in another green card. But came up when it came up. But next, this is one of our new ones, especially being able to do that turn 2, because he comes out a turn earlier than the Kaioken. That's why, because before we were running just 4 Kaiokens just to set this up. Well, I ran a 2-2 split. Not this does not go into that. I was just running it just to set up something else. And the fact that it's another guy that can you can go into turn 2 and discard for 1 energy, which the principle of this is 1 energy, 1 discard, or 1 energy, 2 discards. We setting that up. We're being efficient about discarding. Thus, the reason for this name being a progenitor of hand destruction. Not hand control, hand destruction. Everybody else play hand control. I'm destroying it. Well, going on to the next card. Broly. I really wanted to keep this at 4, but 2 was enough, and I saw it when I needed. Playing against certain decks, they need to combo 1 in order to build up a Z energy. So, because we play this deck very passive, and sometimes I didn't awaken to turn 4. I could have defended more in my Bardock matchup. Not Bardock, a very spicy Vegeta-less. Shout out to Guts. I knew of it a little bit, but I let him go off too much, too hard, and got punished for it. But no regrets. But this not only gatekeeps Z energy, but it also knocks off super combos, which I was doing for most of the tournament. But I won't really play heavy into the stratagem of Z energy control, which the green can do really well, especially behind that Bardock, which was the original concept behind the Spirit Bomb combo, which I kept some of the not to be cliche, the spirit behind it with this, but it was never a primary focus. I'll just put it like that. It's just a bunch of green cards synergizing for one purpose, and that's to drop your hand and really minimize your card advantage or put a strain on your resources and make your decisions even harder. Then we got one Toa. I was running like 2, 3, but then we cut it. I'm like, there's a lot of 2-ofs in my deck, so we had to make some space. This is the shield. Play it, give leader +5, and they got the discard a card if your leaders are yellow or green. Boom. This is the sword. This is for like in-game scenarios. I never drew it for that instance. I did one game, but it didn't matter. But most of the time I was drawing Toa all day, but if I draw this, it's in my winning sequence to close out the game. Because you want to crit them down to 2, then double strike them for game. Because after that, you can swing with any double strike under the sun. Because you're swinging for lethal. 3 dormants. I thought about cutting this all together. It didn't really matter too much. If I can dormant once per game, I feel confident in winning that game. And there are some games I've seen in dormant late, but at the same time, there are some games where I clumped too many dormants. I had it in my right mind to put dormant at 2, because that's how much I didn't need it. It just, when that one time comes, and this draws a fair bunch, use it. Then we have 2 cells. This was the other card I cut down because I was running like 3 to 4 of these, because my stratagem is to spam 2 of them before I kill them, before I kill my opponent. Because with our Z, or our extra card, we go into our Z leader through bursting rage, which is my SER of choice, and uh, also it's a good defensive card because it provides a mini floodgate to your opponent's battle cards that are 25 or less that's already on the field. Sadly, it used to be anything for the turn, but they ruled it just on the field. Bandai ruling, but and intent. So I'm not gonna press too hard on that. I just have to play it with the nerf. It still served its purpose when I saw it, and when I didn't see it, the game was a little bit harder, especially with my opponent that could keep up a hand size. And just, it is what it was. But a lot of good things to say about this, more than bad things. It replaces itself, and also my logic was this was my fourth dormant, quote unquote, because it served a big purpose. And also with the Z leader, it lets me play this without paying the energy, which did come up in some games. Alright, going into our Z deck. This definitely dissertation worthy because it's very option heavy. First, I cut this to 1. Usually you will see this at 2 in every green deck. Also with, or some will cut it to 1 to make room for the Piccolo. I think this is my only Z battle card in my Z deck, and we just playing it for that one game scenario. There was a game against Red Gohan that I should have used it, but I didn't because I was fearing it's either I lose or I lose. But I chose the wrong route 2 times, and that cost me the game. Also, when it hits, it hits. When you watch the gameplay, I fumbled a bit on one of my games, but there's one game I did it very correctly. This is just another turn 4 kill type of card, because at turn 4 you get to use this effect and get double strike. That's all it's in here for. Just a card that I don't have to use my hand size to play. Then we have one of these. This is just in here for red, and also the +5. Because red has a lot. Red, blue, any deck with a lot of 3 or less. Because a lot of people forget about the effect, and I learned in testing that this KOs 3 or less when you launch it for the first effect. I'm like, neat. This also the combo with the Broly. Set this up early. I did play this throughout the tournament. This was just a 2 of, but I want to be diverse and just have the option for the situation. I would say this is a very technical list and skill intensive. I would say it's a Rolodex of option select. It's kind of like option select, so now I just want to have the options if the situation came up. And like also with a second effect, I get to pump up my Z Broly to like 50k, and if I KO a battle card, they discard 2, which goes in with my strategy. This is in here. I think every green deck ever should be running a Unison that has blocker. It makes Dormant so much stronger. I honestly want to run 2, but its only takeaway is the fact that he costs 2 energy. Some games I had to play him on 2 turn 3, which I wanted to do something else. But if you feel threatened with the aggro, he's your go-to if you have Dormant. Also with this, another playline I would do is after I play him, because he's cheaper than the Trunks, I will have a Sales Command Man in him, and I would Dormant the first attack. They'll try to combo, and I'll just sell, rip a card out the hand, and just combo like a Draw Ape and like a or a Rebrand. Just one of those cards I want in the drop, or just to any other card that fits the situation. But also he is valued just for being a 1 energy unison just to make Dormant's life. This I want to abuse more, and I want it to run this at 2. If I'm facing a slower deck, I like to drop this on curve on 2 or 3 and just keep plussing up. And this is always will be a -1 with your opponent. So I was running 2 of those. And we got Bardock. He floated in and out of the deck many times. We had this originally was a second Trunks, but I'm like last second. The draw effect can come up, and also the ability to make blockers is really good, but he's more optimal in the other cell deck because the opponent will just get rid of your blocker unless the card you gave blocker already has a barrier. Green doesn't have 1 energy barrier cards or enough. Not just 1 cost energy. I mean, pay 1 green energy to play this card, and it also has barrier. Just like the Raditz and a few other cards in here that play itself for 1 energy that may have a higher. I think that's what something green terribly lacks. And if it had that, this card would be really or much stronger in this deck. But I did use it for the blocker effect to just draw. I didn't get a chance to use the other effect where I did the Z energy. Hasn't come up in the matchup, but I still will keep it in here just in case, just to set that up, or when I play against a deck that doesn't have quite as good removal early game. Then we running 2 Cell Perfected. I know some running 1 when you running that secret rare. What? I chose 2 for the reason if I'm playing a grindy game, I want to, or my leader effect to put an Android under draw 2. I still would play it the same. I'm not running a quite as high amount of androids as my other list, so I need to just turn that off because I'm not going to draw 2 all game. I'll just go into the Z leader or the second Z leader just to have this available to me and just be a 20k leader, which they have to combo. Most cards under 20k have to combo up into, which helps my strategy because you lowering your hand size, which this deck is basically attacking the hand. And when wave 2 come out, I can modify it to attack the Z energy as well. That's kind of like the point of the creation of this deck. Green is like such a control color, especially when you play it in this vein. I'm trying to control the land, the sea, and the sky. All 3 aspects. The Z energy, the board, and the hand. Those are my 3 domains that I'm trying to wreck with. When this card attacks, it draws a card, and I KO a battle card. Anything. So it kind of keeps its front side effect without having to get rid of something, or needing to get rid of 2 cards underneath. It does it automatically. That's why it's a good second option. Otherwise, I would just have like 10 different Z card slots, or I might just would have bumped up the second Trunks. But I think everything is necessary, and I will keep it the same going into future events. Side decks, well, was pretty spicy, and very diverse. We got Mega Kabura. I wish I would have drew this when I was facing the light and the dark. I'll probably highlight that game on the channel, but we still got through that and stayed in a good position. One Kojikai didn't need it. or didn't go into it as much. I drew it when I needed. I sighted it in almost every game, but the card I sighted in every game. Also, if I was going how I was with the no solidarity thing, because I just wanted to play 4 Reddits. Solidarity would have been in my side, and this would have been main decked. I know the guy that was put in work with Cell Surge main these, and I'm like, that's genius. Every deck triggers off this effect. Every deck has something that trigger off this. And when they play something that's 15k or less by a non-keyword skill, and most of your non-keywords are the red and green box skills on your card, like the counter attacks and your straight skills and your dual attack and stuff. But active mains, autos, just get hit by that. And we had a instance on that. I'm going to see if I can repair that as much, because the video for that is kind of but this is the single best black card of the format. I thought they was gonna hit this a while ago, but when the other Nikki Town, Ginger Town cell deck was around, I would just rather you just hit this card instead of nerfing the leader to all hell. But sacrifices. I guess Bandai really wants this in the game and wants us to play it. Say unerrated leader, I'm okay with this going, but I don't care about bans and limits. I just want to play it. But 3, it used to be 4, but we had to make space for it. But this was the most important card in my side deck, the Black Mass. Going on to my next one. 3 is a death ball. There's some instances where I sighted in, it could have came up, but I ended up discarding it or charging it. But in there just when I need it, and especially when I'm focusing on unison heavy. When I go into other lists, this might be bumped up or even main decked, but this is a pretty strong card for green. Upo, this was 3, then I cut it down to 2 just to make room for other cards. This card ends turn because people don't respect this. If they don't respect it, I'm gonna keep playing it until they do. It's just simple as that. And also the Frieza is for their counter attack equivalents plus aggressive tools on their turn. That's 4 or less, because I respect it. And then we have 2 aerial bells. I know people main it, but I don't. I have a specific strategy and focus, and it's just this plus the Boo. I call it Boopo because it's kind of like a Topo, but the unadulterated Malice. I'm just going to call it by its official name, the Majin Buu unadulterated Malice. These 4 cards is my defense of the deck. If I feel I'm facing a deck that I want to slow down, these 2 come in. Like I would Dormant and just King Piccolo pop something, or if I don't have the Dormant, I'm playing this turn 2, which I did in one of my games, and then just stopped the turn. Or they only swung one time into it. Wasn't ready. Then we have this for unisons. Kind of wanted to main this, but I'm glad I didn't, because not a lot of decks I played unisons, strangely enough, and this is just in there. And like, I want my side deck just to be an actual side deck, and it's pre-side, by the way, so any of these can go in and out for the situation, like a side deck should. This one I was varying on. This card, I can't let it go. I think this is one of the best top 5 green cards. That main side Uh, I was just when I was on my one energy tip. This was mained before I found that Goku spice, and I'm like, I don't want to cut Zamasu all together because it bodies certain matchups when you have them locked down, like black, yellow. Gotta commit like 2 cards to get rid of it, and that's -2 out your hand after I swing, so -3 out my opponent's hand. Uh, blue can't handle this. They have one card, and that's if I allow them to set it up. That card requires another card. That makes its power level lower, which I have defenses to prevent that card from either coming into play or being played in general, or being played after I have come. But this card performed well. It's main deckable, but it's an aside because like 2 to 3 of my matches was red, and I'm glad I didn't really have to think about maining or siding this up because you only get like so minutes time to side without siding taken away from the actual gameplay. But easy decisions. You want to make easy decisions. And going back to the main deck, my easy side outs all day was because you side out your utility cards for the cards you need the most. I never sided more than 5 or 6 cards. Most of my games was 2 to 3 cards. Usually I will pull from as I will go, and also the benefit of the certain cards in the deck, like this Broly screams utility. Actually, this last row is utility. I always flex this bottom row. I usually kept these top 2 rows the same. I might side out this Goku, depending on the matchup for my opponent that can't go wide. That's an easy 2 side out, and I will cut one of these because it's a 10k at the end of the day. But I like it at 2 just for the fact that I can play 2 in one game. I wouldn't go up more than that, but we gotta minimize the amount of, or the least amount of uncombable cards, because that's also another one of Green's issues, and that stems from the deck building aspect. Having too many uncombable cards, or 10Ks as we like to call it back in the day. So right now, or for this list, only had 2, 4, 5 10Ks in my deck total, and 6 extra cards. So potentially 11 cards you can't combo with, but the rest of my 50 card deck was comboable, making for 39 comboable cards. That right there, combo efficiency. This was another card I really wanted to run that too, but my second one would have been my 51st card. But for tournament wise, like I said before, this is personal for me. For a regional or higher level, it has to be 50. Locals, I might get away with like 53, 56 at most, but we are practicing fiber optics here. But that's pretty much the list. What was my run? I played against Dino Trunks, the red SSB Vegeta. What else I played against? Played against Gamma. Played against, yeah, I gotta note this so it's still fresh in my head so I can go back and watch this and just reflect on it and just bring it up again during my real talks. So I played against Rainbow Bardock, the SS4 Rainbow Bardock, during my last rounds. Got a no-show. And what else? Oh yeah, Red Gohan, Red Vegeta, Gamma. Oh yeah, I played the mirror match. That was one of my losses. Shout out to Weird None. I forgot your name. Or I knew that one point. We'll just go with that. The other cell player from my region that always comes to my regionals. But I think that is. I feel like I'm missing one. But I think that's all. It was 7 rounds. It was a good run. I feel like I could have did better. Also, my Koisekai, which I always tell my my local guys, if you have Koisekai and can discard it from hand without attacking, do that. If it's in drop, that should be your first play. But there are many a times I had this in hand and I just started doing the discard stuff without playing this first and then doing discard stuff, because this checks Deborah. Deborah, Majin Vegeta, the yellow Gohan that comes out and play. Floodgates. Or not floodgates, it don't check floodgates. It checks active battle and combo effects that play themselves. That's 15 careless. But this was putting in work, but I could have been more optimal with it. In some matchups, it's bad because they can pop it, but the most value it gets is when you play it on your turn and they have to remove it on your turn, which 9 times out of 10 they're not going to do. And then you do your discard effects. That's my one lesson that would have put me in better position. Sometimes I played it late, or I didn't believe in it enough, because logically, like going into my green, and he Majin Vegeta me, and I'm like, I was looking at this in hand. I drew 2 of them after my mulligan. 2. And I'm like, I forgot green pops a lot. I got rid of it, I charged it, I comboed one away. And then I did a discard play. Then he was ready. And I'm like, oof, oof. And the funny thing about it, like half my games, or 4 out of my 7 games, people opened up Majin Exterminator or the yellow Gohan turn 1 or turn 0. I will open up with Lone Vegeta, and they already had the answer with their energy marker. Me going first, I'm like, that's one of my benefits of going first too. But I'm like, really? And then next turn I'll discard some more, and then they double the board. I'm like, wow, you guys are lucky. I wish I had y'all webcam luck, but that's okay. But not mad at all. Just wish I could did better, cause like I wanted to win again with a cell deck. Maybe this not the version right now. I still have some time to practice and reflect. I'm not too discouraged on that. But since I showed this, we're probably gonna do a different version. I would say arguably the most scariest version of Cell. Even though this is strong, but it's still very skill intensive, and like you can't make too many mistakes. I would say this is the version where you can't, or it has the least amount of mistakes to give. You just gotta be on point at every turn. So take your time. Just don't slow play and like wait like 2 or 3 minutes before making a move. Thinking. We only got so much time on the clock, especially for webcam, and seeing the opponent's cards, just mapping out the field they hand. You can't just pick them up. You just gotta be aware. And then I was cooked like 4 to 5 rounds in. But this was endurance and getting my game. Still wish we had Top Cup, because I would have just tried harder to win my last 2. I won one of them, my last 2. Other ones I was like, I'm cooked. I still think this is a strong deck. Just leave me off with the like. I think this is like one of the most ingeniously different versions. But these I would like to have seen a lot more, but I seen them like turn 2 one game, turn 3 or 4 at the latest. 'Cause at first these were at like 3 and 4, and that's before we added these, which I don't regret, and the sauce. Where's the sauce? Yeah, these 3 was the sauce all day, and I made some adjustments to keep them in. But otherwise, it would have been just as you see it. I would say this was my day before add-ins. Otherwise, this would have been higher. This would have been higher. Maybe Zamasu would have been mained, because I would have had the room. I'm like, this is like 12 hours before the event. Or actually, these 2 was 12 hours before the event. But Ribrian was definitely in there because I'm like, it's necessary, even though this is the strongest, worst green card. But it's dormant fodder, because I don't want to ditch too many other stuff. Like, I'm ditching like Ribrian one or one of these all day. But that's my dissertation. I don't want to talk too much about the games I had, because you can just watch them in the playlist. But thanks for watching. I just had to thoroughly break this down. And catch you later. I'm like, if you're gonna play this, practice against everything. I'm like, the known answers for this is not enough. Not enough. And I'm just gonna leave you off with that, and catch y'all later. Woo! This was a breakdown. This was a break. I'll probably do some combo videos on this later, if anybody's that's interested. But catch you later. Deuces.